Oh, I'm trying to say. Okay. Good morning. This is the regular meeting of the Columbia Open Space Committee for August 21st, 2025. Uh, First of all, I would like to make introductions. Okay, I am Ian Dunick, Chair.
Rob Hallstrom, Paul Ramsey, Ron Wickholm, Tom McGrath.
Paul Zader.
Chris Tulsa,
Chris.
And I'd like you all to meet David McCarthy, who is the executive director, the new executive director of Joshua's Trust.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Good to meet you.
Thank you. Great to meet you all.
okay, I move we approve the minutes of July 17th. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Stay.
Abstention, one abstention. Okay, we have no updates from Kelly Glusty or Honor Lawler. Everybody's on vacation. Nor is great. Those are our representatives from International Mountain Biking Association, Trust for Public Land. And nobody's here from the state. Later, we can give a brief update on Camp Laurel. Okay, we're missing Justin this morning. So, we don't have a report from planning and zoning. But, do we have an update on the Pine Street parking?
Nothing new.
Nothing.
Big Thompson has no recent contact. And I've heard from the town.
Okay, so that's on hold. Salmon River.
Still blowing?
Barely. They're blowing last night, they say. Have lots of those, but we don't need to go through them all. Lebanon has had a lot of feedback on this herbicide spraying. Sure you guys have noticed in Columbia as well. And do we know anything? I know nothing about what the product is. Is it environmentally hazardous?
The one they're using on the railings, the streets?
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, many cases that's close to water. And it's of concern now. The person from Lebanon said that there was a large uproar in Lebanon and they were looking into it. Now, I guess we don't have any feedback when Mark isn't here to tell me anymore, but
No,
I've certainly noticed it.
he's supposed to be here, but he'll be,
That's
he's
his
in
business.
meeting and
Oh, okay.
with a short. I did contact, Beth Lund, our DPW director, about that. Because I received a citizen complaint, what's going on here? And yes, it's Roundup, or what is it, Lego?
Yeah.
Lego, yes. And I said,
Well, but do you know what it is? What chemical it is?
glyphosate, or is,
The Roundup,
Is it a Roundup?
yeah,
so,
speaking of,
Good morning.
our town administrator, Mark Walter, is just joining us now.
okay, we had a question mark
This,
about, what is DPW sporting on the, so,
it's a EPA and deep approved wetlands certified herbicide. So it has gone through all the certifications. I have proof of that. It's what all the towns use, but we're only using it at guardrails. Cause our DPW, they all had to be treated. They had so much poison ivy, they were almost not able to work because of the amount of poison ivy around our guardrails. So it's what we had to do. I have to go look over by Chesbro Bridge and Pine. I was told they got a little aggressive, but they're supposed to be turning off the herbicide when going over waterways. And only doing it on the guardrails.
That piece over at Chesborough and Pine is a very aggressive poison ivy.
Oh, you think that's,
I mean,
That was-
it's unbelievable. It was, the stone walls here, there was like 3 or 4 feet of poison ivy, which was cutting the sight line. I
That's-
on that every
so
day.
that's probably why they went that aggressive there.
Yeah, I mean, it's real nasty stuff.
Okay,
Who cut all the trees right at the pond there, right there?
I'll ask Beth. That was probably part of that sightline issue.
Oh, okay.
okay,
And I honestly got poison ivy this year. I think it does sometimes it just goes nuts and it's going crazy this year.
Yeah, and that spot I'm talking about is always bad, but it was, I mean, you would come out of Doubleday and you want to look to the right, all through there, it's all very thick.
Okay,
but it is happening nearby.
you mean some of the herbicide is hitting some of the water? And it's supposed to have a very short shelf life of application and.
Yeah.
We hired a professional company that does, they do Hebron, they do us, and our public works goes with them. It's one of those things, we don't know the answer what to do, cause sightlines are critical.
Sure.
And the health of our employees is critical.
Yeah.
And that's our only solution right now. We used to do it almost all with weed whacking, but we can't right now.
And
That would probably be a good thing to put in your monthly newsletter, you know, your online newsletter, just you know, what kind of
Especially
the approvals that the product has.
Okay,
Because I think everybody wonders, I wondered, I mean, you drive, I mean, right past the dam, you know, in Mono, and it was squirted.
it seemed to work really well.
yes,
Okay,
just my turn, we have to take care of the water. Okay,
not quite done in.
oh, I'm sorry, please,
Not that any of this is important. But
yes,
these COVID, the maps that you all received a copy of, or are right up
Yes.
here, have been very well received. People are asking, some towns are asking for more. I just looked out here, we're still well supplied.
that's good,
Hydrilla removal in the river, Connecticut River and Salmon River is being held up because of the Fed's budget issues. You don't really see money.
Mm.
So nothing, as far as they could tell, nothing is being done on projects that were already funded.
and that's medical.
That is political and, I mean, and I don't know what, we were kind of musing about the fact that it was cumulative, you know, if the seat beds are there, they just stay come back.
Yeah.
Or they spread, so it's, you don't want to lose them of the year.
But I felt that has timing.
Oh, somebody in the Army Corps who was working on the project received death threats.
Oh, really? Cause they didn't want them to spread.
And a whole bunch of, down in that neighborhood down there, your neighborhood there, conspiracy theories abound. You know, the government's doing this on purpose, they're finding it. I mean, nobody knew any specifics, but they just mentioned conspiracy theory. I just said, just. You know, I could consider myself immune in Columbia. We're not.
Yes.
And lastly, she mentioned, Pat Young mentioned something called the Environmental Review ERT, a program that DEEP and the state in general sponsors, where you can get a bunch of experts to come in and look at any given project, like in a site visit of sorts, and it's all free. And I just want to make sure that we had heard of it. Tom's nodding like he knows. I'm not sure what we have a lot of people working on Mono Pond, but that's possibility. If we want to think about this in the future, ERT, there's references online to it.
So if we were to acquire a new property or prior to,
Apparently, you could propose almost any project, ongoing review of something that you're doing, review of potential purchase. Yeah, it was very general, and I guess it's, from what I read this morning online, it's project specific. I mean, it's not just, there's no designated people. They just have a bunch of people they can contact, depending upon what you're asking.
I know in Hebron, they recently purchased open space toward Colchester.
They mentioned.
And the ERT team went and
Yes.
did a review of the property and said, yes, you can put trails here, you shouldn't put, you know, whatever, all that kind of stuff. As to and there's a whole bunch of disciplines that they come as a group to review it.
Sounded,
So who is this?
it's the state, and I know specifically DEEP is involved. ERT, you read about it on.
environmental,
They've been around for a long time. They used to be a tool to try to stop development.
Right, sounds like.
Back in
stop Route 6.
all that kind of.
Oh, is that
I don't know if they still use that, that was like, you know, groups would come together, guys proposing a subdivision, and they have to review it. I haven't heard of them doing that anymore, so maybe that's off their plate, but
This seemed completely optional and
yeah.
you invite them in, so.
Good to know.
Okay, that's plenty of the usual work of monitoring the streams, feed the Salmon River goes on. Salinity detectors, conductivity detectors. Temperature monitoring is ongoing. They're about to pull them out, minimize the data.
Okay.
I'm not sure who gets all that, but Pat Young has trove of information.
Okay, so she has volunteers to go out and
She-
test
she-
and report to her.
She has paid interns to work with her. How many changes from year to year? She did say this year, but she mentioned the word interns. And then several on the partnership volunteer for a while. They get mentioned all the time.
Anything else?
That's it.
And, David, just.
Yeah.
Just for your information, Columbia is, we are in quite a number of watersheds. One of them is the Salmon River, which feeds into the Connecticut. We're also in Hop River watershed and the 10 Mile River watershed. And we're like a rock on a hill, and all of our water originates here and feeds into others. Unlike Atlantic, all their water comes from Mansfield and Chaplin and Coventry. But our water starts here, all of our groundwater. So we pay particular attention to where our water is going. To the Salmon River, the Hop River, into Columbia Lake, into the 10 Mile River. And that all feeds into the Natchog, Shetucket, Thames River watershed. And that's why we are part of Joshua's Trust, because we're in that watershed. In fact, we feed them all. So,
The other watershed too is the Yantic River watershed.
right,
So if Mono Pond State Park actually drains into all three watersheds, depending on which corner you're in.
Is there any way I could get a watershed map of the area? Does anyone have one? I'd love to.
So the easiest thing is the town of Columbia has the Plan of Conservation and Development
Mhm.
document. It's 10 years old, but it has all these different maps that include those. So if you go out to the town website, and I believe it's under planning and zoning, there should be a link to it, but it would be the 2016 POCD.
And we're upgrading it right now, the 10-year upgrade.
But the watershed won't change much.
True.
No, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
And so that's pretty much how we conserve our open space. Because all our water, groundwater, drinking water, and recreational water originates here in our swamps and marshes. And we pay particular attention to conserving those areas. And in a minute, we'll have Tom talk to us about our project. We have a very large project in the Mono Pond State Park. So, let's see, trail maintenance is all of the day.
Yep.
Yours too.
Yep.
Okay. And under new business, we'll table up clean up conservation and development updates, because they'll probably get embedded. But so David, would you like to talk to us about Joshua's Trust?
Sure, no problem. I'd be happy to. One sec, I'm just going to grab my coffee. Mm. So I'd like to backpedal a tad and just take a moment to introduce myself. So I am new to Joshua's Trust as of March of this year. I came from an organization called the Wilton Land Trust down in Fairfield County, where I headed up an organization that was on a downward trajectory and kind of revived them, revamped them, and gave them a bunch of fresh air. And I worked there for about 5 years. It was a smaller operation, but much larger when I left it. And an opportunity presented itself at Joshua's Trust for me to jump into a much larger organization and grow. So I decided to make that leap, and I was very grateful for Joshua's Trust acceptance of my application and letter of hire, and here I am. So personally, I went to the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies, graduated in 2018, and did a ton of work all across Connecticut and internationally, really focusing in on communication, conservation, climate change adaptation, mitigation. I really was targeting sea level rise and working with shoreline communities, but that didn't work out. So I ended up becoming uh, I was staff at the town of Brantford, where I worked in inland wetlands, and then I became the interim director, and I went from there to Wilton and here now at Joshua's Trust, where um, I don't want to give like a Joshua's Trust speech, but I can talk about. I feel like you all know what we do. Does anyone not know what we do? Oh, okay. Yeah, so essentially, we're formerly known as Joshua's Trust, but our true name is Joshua's Tract. Um, I'm trying to figure it out. Anne would know it better than I would. Joshua's Tract and Historic, Joshua's Tract Conservation and Historic Trust. I believe that's our formal title. I don't use it often, but we just call ourselves Joshua's Trust. But we're a nonprofit based in northeastern Connecticut, and our main focus is land and historic preservation. So we conserve land, meaning protecting open space, forests, farms, habitats in the region, and we hold land through ownership and conservation easements to ensure it stays undeveloped. And we're working right now with about 10 to 12 properties in our hopper, spanning our 14-town reach. We're any minute going to close on a gift property that we're just having a hard time connecting the people who need to be there for the closing. It's just been summer schedule interruption, but we're just a couple signatures away from conserving another piece of property. We steward our property and manage our over 5,000 acres with trails and habitats, ecosystem, and wildlife. And we do that through community engagement, outreach engagement, and involvement. We rely heavily on volunteers, our members, and donors to carry out our mission. And to really connect people to the land, we run a lot of programs, hikes and events to inform people and excite people about conservation. And then last but not least, we hold in high regard historic preservation in that we have protected significant properties as well as structures like the grist mill, Atwood Farm, where we have several museums that we open during our events and community programs. And what I'm attempting to do is to deepen our impacts and connections across our 14 towns and be less known in Mansfield and equally known throughout the region. We're a staff of 4. Currently, we have 3. I'm in the middle of hiring our 4th. And my goal is really to just excite people about conservation, about habitat restoration, and connect people to our mission.
Does anyone have question?
Question, and you may not know the answer yet. There seems to be a trend of different land trusts merging.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if Joshua's Trust is considering that, looking into that at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a fear of mine down in Wilton. True story. The Aspetuck Land Trust is one of those gobble up organizations. And my first day, the executive director reached out to me and said we should get to know each other. And I said, that sounds wonderful, because they're like the next town over. And my first meeting, my first week, maybe my first day on the job, he said, you should consider merging with us. And I looked him in the eye and said, I just got this job. What are you talking about? Why would I even remotely consider that? I don't, and so he has a lot of funding from grantors that are very pro merger, and they want to. The grand vision for these folks is a northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest land trust, just quadrant the state out. And yeah, Joshua's Trust, we're one of the largest organizations, one of the largest land trusts for our area and our holdings in Connecticut. So there are a lot of trusts that consider merging, and I don't blame them. They didn't have a succession plan. Their president was president for 34 years. Who wants to take them? Who wants to take that role? It's very intimidating versus, a more revolving door where someone's been there 2 to 3 years, maybe 3 to 6 years, and it's less intimidating. But these organizations, like the one in the town I grew up with, Shelton, Connecticut, I saw their executive director at the CLCC conference, and I said, "How's it going?" "Oh, great. We're doing this, we're doing that." And then I was excited. And then the next year I saw him, "How's it going?" "Oh, we're gonna merge with Aspetuck." And I was like, "Don't do it. Don't you're gonna it's just gone. Shelton Land Trust will be gone. The name will be gone. Just work with it. I'll help you." And they merged. So no, we have no we're very lucky and fortunate to be endowed, and we have no it's not even coming up in discussion. There's no it's not on the horizon by any means, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But
The
yeah,
other thing
it's happening.
The other thing I had heard was Joshua's Trust was thinking about a name change.
No, logo change.
Uh,
Yeah, we changed our logo from the critter to like a tree. That happened right before I joined, and I didn't understand what the critter was. I was seeing it everywhere, and the thought was it was I'm trying to think of the word, but essentially disrespectful to Native American tribes, as we're using a Native American's signature. That was Joshua's signature, was the critter. And there's a word for it when you're disrespectful. It's slipping my mind.
Politically incorrect.
Yeah, yeah. So they made the call to switch logos, and then unfortunately, in the midst of it, I believe there was an interim logo. So on some things, we have like 3 logos, unfortunately. But our current one is a tree. I believe it's an oak, but it's just a graphic of a tree. It looks maybe like an oak, so I'll call it an oak. But no, we're not changing our name. Again, we have that long title, but I guess our quote unquote like DBA is Joshua's Trust. Don't be shy. I love questions.
Have any questions?
I don't, the portion of Joshua's Trust that you manage in Columbia, have you walked it with Ann yet, David?
So unfortunately, during my first, I'm here since March now, so maybe 4 or 5 months, we've had 2 staff members move on. So I've been picking up a lot of that work. We've secured one, and I'm in the process of interviewing for the second. But my goal, I told Alex, my stewardship coordinator, that I want to walk 100% of our properties within 1 year of being here. And I'm pushing that date out to 1 year of when we're staffed up. But no, the answer to your question is no, I have not walked it, but it is very important for me. I'm very visual. So once I walk a property, it's kind of locked into my mind, and I want to be able to discuss anything that happens, whether it's positive or negative, or send people on a trail to a beautiful scenic lookout, or some sort of trail property that is stunning and engaging. But no, I haven't, and I will.
One exciting thing, the town just purchased a piece of land that connects our rec park property we own to Highway Route 66. And it also butts up to Joshua's Trust.
Yes.
So we're gonna have a whole new access point for the public, and we're probably this fall making a parking lot. To come in from the wooded side instead of the rec park side. So, you'll see, when you come to visit with Ann, you'll see our large recreation park where all our ball fields are and our hiking trails that are where people exercise walk. But the Joshua Trust part is off of the rec park, one access point. Now we're gonna make probably what, the third access point? Cause you have off Lake Street, you'll have off Route 66, and we have off Henwood. So-
What is the name of the property that's Joshua's Trust that it abuts?
Utley Hill,
Say that again?
Utley, Utley,
Oh,
Utley
thank
Hill.
you. Thank you. I apologize. I'm not exactly familiar with all of our properties yet, but I think that's fantastic. That actually, I have a question for you all that just popped up. So this committee, is this an advisory committee to the First Selectman of Columbia, or are any of you staff for the town? I don't really have a understanding of this.
We are, the Open Space Committee is advisory to the Board of Selectmen. So whenever the town is considering open space acquisition, it is our duty on this committee to assess the property. We have a score sheet and we assess the property and recommend or not recommend.
And David, I'm the town administrator, so I'm staff.
Okay.
And I report to the Board of Selectmen. But I represent all the boards and commissions for whatever they need, I help them.
Thank you. And I'm assuming your name is not Beverly, which shows up underneath the Zoom
Correct,
link.
so I'm Mark Walton.
Thank you.
Sure. Beverly is our finance director who set up the Zoom account.
I figured my treasurer at my last organization couldn't figure out how to change the name, and his grandkids figured it out in 2 seconds and made his name like Mr. Poop. So every time I was on a Zoom with him, he's like, I can't get rid of it. I don't know how to. It's Mr. Poop. I'm Mr. Poop. My grandkids did it. Yeah.
We had a member of FIPAC once came on to a meeting remotely, and his grandchildren put like a cat face on him.
And he couldn't get it off.
Trying to get rid of it.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. What is the volume of land, I would say maybe acres per year historically that this committee ends up assisting the town with and they end up closing with? Like, I'm just trying to get a gauge of that. Or
Our
maybe
main
acquisitions per
Our
year.
main objective has been Monopond State Park. And that's increased from a little over 200 acres to what?
600.
Oh, 600.
It's over 600 now.
Eight
Eight with,
hundred.
what we've got now.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
that's-
congratulations.
In the last 10 years, we have, through partnerships, acquired 800.
Some of the land we own, some of the land the state owns. We partnership through Trust for Public Lands. And they handle all the negotiations with the state, with the private landowners.
Oh, wow.
So we're not done. It's been quite a project and and we're also now partnering with other towns. We've partnered with Lebanon in one of the acquisitions because part of that acquisition was in Lebanon, which goes through the Airline State Trail. And really the big focus of Monopond State Park is it has a monopond, it has the Airline Trail and the Hot River Trail too, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so two major hiking trails merge in this park.
And just a hop, skipping away, there's a Girl Scout camp of about 400 acres that could be contiguous with this. If you got an extra $250,000, we could complete that deal.
Hold on, let me see here. Let me see what I got. Let me look around.
Tap into Fairfield County, maybe they can help you.
Yeah, no, and I've been shocking folks with statistics from there. So, you know, Joshua's Trust was like, how many acres did you conserve down in Wilton while you were there for 5 years? And the answer there is 0. Does anyone have any idea how much an acre of land costs down there?
Like a million?
No, definitely not a million, but
Okay.
big. I mean, up here, I've learned and seen the averages. It could be like $1,000 or $2,000 an acre, when you're
Yeah.
buying vast acreage. In Wilton,
Right.
it's about $300,000 for 1 acre of dirt. Could be sand, could be trees. So, you know, we conserved right as I left, or right as I got there, through an OSWA grant, a 14-acre property. I believe it was, that was in 2020, and the price then was, I think, we sold for 1.2 million for the 14, but had that been post-COVID, it would probably be triple that. Yeah.
And so we've been buying up Monopond land, our rate has been 2,000 an acre.
Yeah.
And most of that land was very difficult to access for development, which kept the rate down.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. If it's not valued for development, the rate does obviously go down. But if it's prime for development, sitting on a street, ready to go, it's about 300,000 an acre. It's crazy. Okay, so this is great. I want to say congratulations. That's impressive. And I think I want to visit. I was Googling the park while you were talking about it, and just looking at some pictures. It looks fantastic. So I definitely think I want to visit that place. It does.
Anytime you want to.
What was that?
Anytime you want to, try to schedule with me, and I can take you for walks in different sections of it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you
And-
so much. I appreciate that.
I'm the steward of Utley Preserve, Utley Hill, so I'll take you on that one too.
Better plan a whole day.
That would be great, as long as it ends with like a beer or something.
We can arrange that.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. I don't believe I'm on like the email for you all, but I will shoot some availability over to Ann and then see what we can come up with.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Hey, it might be better too to wait a few more weeks till the fall is here and a few more leaves are off the trees so you can see more.
Okay.
But Utley Hill is really, that whole area surrounded by the town land and the Joshua's Trust land. It protects the whole watershed for Columbia Lake. And then the new land for Monopond State Park, a lot of that is protection of the watershed for the Salmon River, which flows into the Connecticut River.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
if you actually do get into our plan of conservation and development, those were targeted areas from 10 years ago of what our goal was to protect.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed about this side of the state that's silly is rivers change names.
yes.
That's the most complicated thing for me to wrap my mind around, because on the west side of the state, I mean, take the Housatonic or even the Connecticut. I mean, Connecticut goes to Nova Scotia. So it's like it's changing names through towns. That's challenging for me, but I'll get used to it. But I'll definitely shoot availability out. I appreciate that, and would love to get to know you all and the Monopond Park.
And our committee, it's a small town, so that a lot of us serve on several committees. So Rob, for instance, Rob Hellstrom is a land surveyor, very valuable. But he's also on the Economic Development Committee. So we get across there. One of our members who is absent today is a key person on planning and zoning. So he's very valuable. And Tom is a linchpin on conservation and agriculture. So
list is too long to wait.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of continuity that way and good communication between commissions and committees. So we work very well together. So,
Yeah, it sounds
and
like that. Yeah, no, absolutely. If you don't have to go through the background of vernacular and use examples all the time, and you could just speak, you know, in trade talk, that's excellent. Speed things up.
yeah. Any other questions, Dave?
Who was the guy, wasn't his name David too, that we went to see at Joshua's Trust? You remember, he had the computer,
Oh,
but,
Brian.
Oh,
Brian.
Brian.
right, are you replacing Brian?
No, so that was that happened before my time, but I guess the position was um funded by a grant that eventually the grant went away and we realized the revenue wasn't there to continue that position. However, my goal, I would say a good 50 to 40% of my goal is to also increase our revenue. So there'll be an appeal going out. Something Joshua Trust has never done is appealed to people it doesn't know. That's kind of silly, right? Like you can't grow if you're not contacting new people. So I'll be contacting new people with our fall appeal. The idea is to grow eventually to have the appeal be every single household across our 14 towns. So for this round, we're going to try it out, and I'm going to do maybe 4 or 5 towns and appeal via mail to every single household. We'll get something in the mail. So we'll be expanding our reach that way. And if I can continue to grow our revenue, we can probably bring something like a Brian back in the future.
Yes, we invited Brian to this meeting a year ago. And because we wanted, small towns tend to have not borders, but brick walls. And we wanted to look more regionally at what we were serving in our town. And we invited Brian to come in and talk about what Joshua's Trust was doing in Andover and Coventry and around the Nathan Hale Forest.
Mm.
And how that would connect with Columbia, or how we could connect to that. Have we acquired anything in Andover?
So
In that?
I'm looking at our list right now. Andover is not on it, but Coventry is. We're very fortunate that a land held in a private family trust was, forgive me, I don't have a lot of the legal language, but it essentially willed to us through the trust by the president of the trust. So we're in the process of securing and we've had our due diligence vote last Thursday to move forward. This property is 96 acres and it's fairly large. And I met with Coventry the town planner and the first selectman to review the property, and they're very excited about it. And they're considering giving us, I think, like 30,000 to endow for stewardship of the property. So it's somewhat of a partnership. The town is very excited. But as far as Andover goes, I'm looking at our list and I don't see anything in the queue. A lot of the queue was what Brian assembled. Some of it has
Yes.
been more new, more recent, like this Coventry one. Things are popping up. But yeah, no, nothing in Andover. One of the things I'm also going to be creating, someone called me up and said, I want to know more about how to give land. Do you have a brochure? And I said, no, but we will now. That's a fantastic idea. Why don't we have that? Like a little trifold on giving land and what it looks like and how it feels and the timeline and the benefits. And so I'll be working on that, and that's something that we can give to the Andover commissions, committees, and working groups to distribute to people. And we can accelerate conservation just by letting people know that that is an option. A lot of people probably don't even know it. I bet there's people paying full property tax on like 30 acres all across Connecticut because they're not aware of how to conserve or ease their land and the benefits.
Hey, David, just as I'll give you a contact. Well, actually, look up the trust for the land trust president of East Haddam. I think is Rob Smith. East Haddam has been very successful in amassing a huge open space inventory with a lot of partnerships, including the state. But you might want to tap into, and also Jimmy Ventris is the planner for East Haddam, the staff. I used the first selectman in East Haddam for almost a decade. So that they might have a lot of those tools you're just talking about.
Oh,
They-
wonderful.
They do a lot of people donating their lands when they're going to die or at a bargain basement price when they purchase them. So I think we have at least 19 trail systems in East Haddam, which is right on the Connecticut River.
Right.
Thank you.
Paul and Paul Ramsey right here, and Chris Tulsdorf and I put together a sort of document for Columbia along those lines. Like what are the processes for conserving your land? And so when you come up with a much more professional job, we'd love to borrow.
You know what, can you email him a copy of that?
Yeah.
That might be useful to just take a look at this, because we did work on it. I mean, everything is not applicable to Joshua Trust, but it was an overview of, what can I do with land that I'd like to preserve.
Thank you. That would be great. Yeah, getting a head start would be ideal. It's right now I'm working on, as I just described, the Fall Appeal, and I'm pretty good friends with a fantastic graphic designer. So I will definitely start working something up that's both informational and kind of visually pleasing, right? We don't want it to look like something someone hands out standing outside of like a Starbucks and they're like, hey, read my whatever, whatever. But no, just something more engaging. And I would love any kind of content I can to kind of get that going. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
The other project that we're sort of working on is better protecting our riparian corridors. And Columbia is way too small, our tax base, to just go buying all the land along the edge of our lakes, rivers, and streams. So we're warming up to get the Inland Wetlands Commission to beef up their regulations and perhaps increase the size or the width of the corridor. And that's to protect our water, but also to provide wildlife corridors. Because
So
we're
you're-
concerned about that.
So you're looking to have inland wetlands beef up their regulations. What are you suggesting, like further distance back from development? I mean, when I was in Brantford, it was anything within 100 feet, I believe it's a state statute, is permittable. You have to be permittable, and then you're trying to keep development within 50 feet. What do they say? They're trying to keep development away from riparian or wetlands in the town.
What do you,
We try to value the properties, wetlands, and, for some of them, such as our lake, our beautiful lake, it's 200
It's what? I'm sorry. It's just echoey.
200 feet.
200 feet. Oh, wow. So,
So in other words, it's property specific, at the moment.
oh, it's property
I'm not aware of
specific.
Who to revise the rates, but,
Yeah.
well, I'm kind of waiting. I've started working with the, what is John, the town
Town.
planner.
Mm.
And I'm trying to warm him up to the subject. And he's not deep in our plan of conservation and development revision.
Mm.
And so he said, as soon as he finishes that, he'll work with inland wetlands
Oh,
to
wow.
do that.
Let me know
So,
if you need any help with that. As I said, that was my job at one point. And I was very, for lack of a better term, disgusted with the mere penalty, the mere fee of developing within 100 feet. It was I wanted to raise it substantially to discourage it. That was going to be my methodology. I had a whole proposal, but I never really submitted it. What I did was something that was unique in a way where I said, well, what is everyone else's fees? And I started making a graph, and I started calling all the inland wetlands in the Gold Coast, and I was like, what's your fees? I'm collecting this and I'll share it with everyone. And like, this is amazing. No one's ever thought to do this. Like, what is everyone's fees? And they were all over the place. Some, I can't remember the exact fee, but it was like at one point someone was like 500% below what their neighbors were charging. And I'm like, yeah, this should be kind of regionalized and thought about deeper. So I agree with that, and I think it's fantastic. But it's once you get into trying to have a town do something that is, I forget the word, but if it is if you're asking for a regulation to be greater than what the state statutes say, I don't think you can do that. You'd have to have the state statutes amended, which I heard is extremely difficult. So that's the limitation there. But there's a lot of wiggle room because it's open to interpretation on some degree, but it's definitely the best way I've noticed is people won't develop if it's very expensive. And that was the route I was attempting to take. And also increasing the distance.
our wetlands agent, Savannah, had just come to me with John, and they want to know if they should actually look into a more aggressive penalty structure and create an ordinance that would actually have some penalties for violating our wetlands regulations. So we are considering that right now, so.
That's awesome.
I'll put Savannah in touch with you and John, and anything you can give them for part of your research would help them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you.
okay. Any other questions for Dave?
I have a couple of things, just.
Okay,
So, David, I don't know how familiar you are with the Rails to Trails stuff, where the Hot River Trail runs from Willimantic up to Manchester. And then the Airline Trail runs from Portland, Connecticut, out to Thompson, Connecticut, to the Mass Rhode Island border. Columbia abuts both of those, so Ann and I are representatives with both the Hot River Trail Alliance, which is 7 towns, and the Airline State Park Trail Alliance, which is 12 towns. And the big thing is looking at those trails, they're always looking to connect to other pieces of property. side trails to a park or side trail to Joshua's Trust. I don't know how much you're aware of Joshua's Trust, how accessible the properties are from other properties, whether like the Nipmuc Trail, the Natchunk Trail, the Airline Trail, Hop River Trail, and how that's all fitting into a regional plan of connecting to all these conserved areas.
I'm not familiar, unfortunately, as I'm very new to all of this and all of these areas. Is the trail something that's more like the Appalachian Trail, or is it more like a wheelchair accessible,
Rails the trail.
So it's rails to trails, it's old rail lines
Mhm.
that ran through Willimantic or different places, and Willimantic was the hub for the Airline Trail and for the Hop River Trail. And a lot of it now is like stone dust in areas or gravel.
Yeah.
Some of it is paved when it gets closer to the urban centers. So I know a number of the Joshua's Trust properties in the Wyndham area, Hampton area, whatever, that out that way are accessible from the Airline Trail. One of the things too is with our Mono Pond expansion, we expanded into Lebanon. It used to be just in Mono Pond State Park, used to be just in Columbia. So now it's expanded into Lebanon. And so in that parcel that's in Lebanon, it abuts the Airline Trail. And so we're working on a management plan for both parks to be able to share parking lots and, you use the rail trail to get to possibly mountain bike or hiking trails, all that kind of stuff. So a couple of years ago, when this first happened, we created a nonprofit group called Friends of Mono Pond State Park.
Hmm.
And currently I'm the president of that group. So we're trying to work with the other towns because the parking lots are not in Columbia, they're in Lebanon and Hebron. So we need to work with those towns to say, yes, this makes sense to our plan of conservation development. But anyway, something to look at with your Joshua's Trust lands is which ones are accessible to other parks or other trails.
Thank you.
The,
So who is there an organization that builds the trail, or is it the towns that the trail runs through are responsible via the town or some sort of trust or conservancy?
So the rail trails, there's a number of these trails running off, so it's down on the shore, the Farmington Canal Trail. Running from New Haven all the way up to Massachusetts.
Yes.
There's linear trails over along the Housatonic River too. But all these different rail trails and linear trails are planning to connect. So that you'll have these 100-mile loops within Connecticut. They are state parks. And for the most part, the state DEP is responsible for the maintenance, but quite often that's farmed out to the different towns to implement. So depending on the wealth of each town, some work gets done. If it's a poor town, the work doesn't get done because it's not a priority. So a lot of that is trying to be worked out now that we have these alliances. The Airline Trail Alliance was just formed this year. The Hop River Trail Alliance was formed 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Now they can work as a block of towns with the state.
Does the state own the land the trail's on, or no?
Many times they do. In some areas, it's owned by the towns. It all had to do with the way when the rail shut down, how that land transferred. So
Oh,
it
I
just
see.
happens in Willimantic and Wyndham. A lot of the paved trail is owned by Willimantic Wyndham. And then there's a spur that goes to Colchester, it's owned by Colchester. And there's even sections that are owned by DOT rather than DEP, so it's a hard thing to get your arms around. But if you do wanna come out for any walks and stuff, I'd probably bring you into Mono Pond on the Airline Trail, so you get exposed to that too.
That would be great. Yeah, we'll get that going. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Having no further business, we are, I'll move, we adjourn. Second, all in favor?